Paul the Rose. I want to welcome you all here today as we commemorate to the day the 44th anniversary of the death and active service of volunteer Dermot Crowley. And Dermot died near Óglach, County Tyrone, with his comrades Patrick Carty and Sean Lockery. And it's great to see a good crowd here now again today. Now we're going to start proceedings by calling on Noel Harrington to lay read on behalf of the Féin Historical Society. I now call on Mandy O'Leary to lay read on behalf of the newly formed Margaret Buckley Delaney Brothers Common in the Glanmire and surrounding areas. I now call on Norman to pay lament in memory of Dermot, Pat and Sean, and all our fallen volunteers of Óglach Dermot. Thank you, Norman. I want to acknowledge as well members of Dermot's family, sister June, brother-in-law JJ, and nephews Keane and Finan, and we welcome here as we do every year. I think it's appropriate that our main speaker today is Cocknow Central TD Jonathan O'Brien, following Donegal Era TD speaking at Tony, Dermot's friend and comrade, Tony Ahern's commemoration, Carrigaline in May. So I call on you to welcome Jonathan O'Brien TD.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank the Féin Historical Society for inviting me and asking me to speak here today. It's always an honour to speak at the commemoration of Dermot Crowley. It's been a couple of years since I did so, and I'll try and follow last year's speech by Arnie, because I can still remember his words last year on this very spot. I think it's important that we always gather every year to commemorate the life and the sacrifice of our fallen comrades and volunteers, and it's important for three reasons. One, to commemorate the ultimate sacrifice that they made, and in this case Dermot made that ultimate sacrifice with comrades Sean and Patrick while on active service, and it's sometimes easy to forget that he was only 19 years old when he lost his life on active service, and to try and put that into context, the dedication and the bravery and the maturity of someone of that age to make that decision to go on active service with his comrades to try and free Ireland. I think it's very hard to put into words, and it's very hard to explain to people of that age. Like my own daughter is 17, and when I said to her today we were going to the commemoration, she said, I'm gonna head in town with my friends. And it was just that contrast kind of struck me, that the bravery of Dermot at such a young age needs to be admired and needs to be acknowledged. The second reason is to celebrate his life, because even though he was very young when he lost his life in active service, he achieved an awful amount in in his young years. He was a student of North Monastery Secondary School. He was a renowned athlete. He was a captain of the Cork cross-country team. And obviously, I know June and members of the Crowley family are here today. He was somebody's son, somebody's brother, and somebody's nephew, and he gave a lot of memories to his family in those short number of years. And for that reason, it's important that we also celebrate his achievements in life and not just commemorate his passing. And the third reason, I think, is an important reason, particularly for somebody like me, who didn't have the privilege of knowing Dermot or his comrades such as Tony, who had passed away 6 weeks previously on active service. It's important that we rededicate ourselves to his beliefs, his principles, his bravery, all of the reasons why he took that decision to go on active service. And those beliefs and principles are what drives Republicans like me every day in our work within Leinster House. And I know from speaking to Donica, it's the same. In my own office and in Donica's office, we have pictures of both Dermot and Tony. And, you know, when times get kind of very difficult up there, we take a moment of reflection and we just remember the sacrifice that those who went before us have made. And the very principles and beliefs that drove Dermot and Tony are the very reasons we do what we do. Those principles of equality, respect, freedom, integrity, they drive us every day in our political life. They're the very reasons that not so long ago our comrade Martin McGuinness, who unfortunately passed away since we were last gathered here, decided to bring down the institutions in the north, because it was those beliefs of equality and integrity in politics which dictated his decision that we were not going to stand idly by and oversee a corrupt institution within the 6 counties. And obviously we know what transpired from then. We went into fresh elections and we came out with a stronger mandate. And it's no coincidence that we came out with that stronger mandate, because we went into that election on that agenda of equality and respect and integrity, the very beliefs that Dermot had when he went on active service. And since that election, we've also had the Westminster elections. And I think, well, those of us within the Republican family certainly were not surprised by the results which we achieved in that election. And again, we went into those elections standing on that very same platform of respect and equality for all of our citizens. And we are now currently in a round of negotiations to try and get the institutions back up and running, and we'll see where that round of negotiations go. We all know the DUP are pretty preoccupied at the moment with their own negotiations with Theresa May in London to try and prop up the Tory government, a very Tory government which has imposed hardship and difficulties on our citizens within the 6 counties. And I think it's important to state from the outset that regardless of the outcome of those elections, we will continue to work on behalf of all people within the island of Ireland. And that brings me to probably the biggest challenge facing the people on this island in the coming months, and that is the Brexit negotiations which are going to begin within the European Union. And we have been to the fore in calling for special designated status for the 6 counties. And when we first started calling for the special designated status, and when we first started saying that Brexit was going to be bad for the people on this island, people tried to ridicule us. People tried to say, look, that's not going to happen, everything's going to work out, we'll sort it out. But we knew that we had a very weak Irish government based in Dublin who were negotiating not as equals, and they should have been negotiating as equals, because as co-guarantors of the Good Friday Agreement, that's what they are. But as we have seen in the recent visit of Leo Varadkar to Downing Street, they don't view themselves as equals. They don't view themselves as co-guarantors of the Good Friday Agreement. For some reason, they seem to have this inferiority complex when it comes to the London government and Theresa May. And we have strived and we have worked very hard to put pressure on the Dublin government in recent weeks and months to ensure that they stand up for all of the citizens on this island. And I do note and acknowledge the recent comments of Simon Coveney when he said that the starting point now for any negotiations will be special designated status for the 6 counties. Now it's a statement which we will welcome, but obviously words needs to be turned into actions now in the coming months, and we will continue to keep that pressure up. And also the possibility of a general election happening in the 26 counties, in my opinion, is becoming increasingly likely. Given the recent scandals, given the recent controversy, not just around the Garda Commissioner and the appointments of judges, but just the fact that we now have a Taoiseach who hasn't been elected by the people. He was elected by a very small group of people within a Fine Gael parliamentary party. He wasn't even the most popular choice amongst his own members. And we have consistently said that he now needs to go to the people and get a new mandate if he wishes to lead. And when that election is called, we will fight that election on the very same principles that I spoke about earlier, about equality, about respect, about standing up for those who don't have a voice in political establishments, and we will increase our mandate again. And then the debate will talk about forming the next government. And once again the media will try and portray Republicans as those who like to fight elections but don't want to govern. Well, that is not the case. I think we have proven over the last 10 years that we are very capable of governing, and we are very willing to govern. Unfortunately for us, but unfortunately for the establishment, our type of government is different to what they perceive. Their type of government is about getting ministerial cars, it's about what they can achieve for themselves, while at all times we want to govern on behalf of the people and for the people. And that is what we will go into any negotiations with following the next general election. So we've had a very eventful year, and I think we have a very difficult and challenging few months and 12 months ahead of us in terms of Brexit, in terms of possibly a general election. But at all times, the one thing that I feel so honoured when, as part of Sinn Féin, is the unity of our members. If we have a difference of opinion, then we're quite capable of having that difference of opinion, but we still respect everyone else's opinion within the party. And it's our cohesion and our united ability to go out and to fight elections and to stand up for people which sets us apart from all of the other political parties. So I'm not going to go on much longer, but I just do want to say one final thing. That it is important we gather here every 12 months. And I know when we come back next year, I do hope that we come back based on those 3 reasons which I said earlier. 1, to commemorate the sacrifice. 2, to celebrate Dermot's life. And 3, to rededicate ourselves to the very beliefs and principles that he held so firmly during his short 19 years. And if we can continue to do that, then there is nobody can defeat us. Not the British military, not the British establishment, not the 26th county establishment. Nobody can defeat us. And that is the strength that we have, the strength of our beliefs and the strength that of our beliefs that people like Dermot and Tony left us. And we will continue to strive to achieve everything that Dermot gave his life for, and we will not settle until we achieve that. So thank you very much again for turning out today in such good numbers. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan, for that fine address. And as Jonathan said, it is heartening for us, the Phoenix Historical Society. I'm sure for all of you to see this fine attendance here today, following on the Tony Hurst commemoration in Carrigaline. And while as Jonathan said, has been, every year is a busy year, every year is an eventful year, it is important that we do come to places like this, and that we do come here to honour that sacrifice. Republicans today aren't asked to make the same sacrifice, but our work is as important to carry on and fulfil the objectives for which Tony, Dermot, Pat, John and Mark McGuinness spent their lives struggling for. So thank you again for coming out here today. So just before we conclude, I have a number of notices in the commemorative Féin. Next Thursday night at 7:30, the Ballyhan 1916 Centenary Committee are unveiling a memorial stone at Tory Top Road near the library. If there is anybody here today that would like to take part, there will be people marching in period commemorative dress. You can talk to Arnie or Kieran O'Connell, and really have to commend that committee. I think this will be the final event. That committee, the work that they have done over the last year and a half has been momentous and very significant. And perhaps committees like that, alongside our own, will come back again together. And I know plans already in foot to look at this, the 10 years and the Civil War and years ahead. So we'll keep you posted on that. Next Friday evening at 7:30 p.m. there's the annual volunteer Leo Murphy Commemoration in Waterfall, and the speaker there will be Councillor Owen Jeffers. So we hope to all see you again there next Friday evening in Waterfall. Also, the volunteer Dennis Briggs Commemoration will most likely take place on Saturday evening of the 8th of July, and we'll keep you posted on that. We're looking forward to family members of Dennis coming over from America as well for that event. Just looking further ahead, the annual Hunger Strike Commemoration takes place on Sunday the 13th of August in Ballina and Mayo. Of course, we know Francie Stagg and Michael Gaughan, two hunger strikers, came from Mayo. So we hope to see people making an effort to get to Ballina in August as well. So I think that's it as regarding the upcoming notices. And I thank you all again for coming here on this afternoon. I think we've survived the rain, and I'm going to conclude by calling on Norman to play Oran Naveen.
Right, Allah!